Are you ready to podcast?
Oh, fucking hell. No. I saw you wind up for that.
Hey, I'm Blake.
And I'm Dave.
And this is the boxing movie episode of First Prize Films, the punchiest podcast, where we each select a genre-specific movie separated by at least a decade, and we pit them against each other to find out which film wins the coveted title of First Prize. Dave, what does that mean for us?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, you know how you keep the box to your new phone?
Yeah.
You know you don't need it, but it's there anyway. Today we are punching our way through these boxing movies.
Yeah.
I made Blake watch $1 Million Baby, a movie that has no business being as dark as it is.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about it. And I made Dave watch 1976's Rocky, the inspirational tale of a brain-damaged boxer on a quest to be a vegetable. So, Dave, this is a fan-suggested episode, and honestly, a pretty great suggestion.
I love it. I'm really excited. I remember growing up watching Rocky after Rocky after Rocky, and until he got old, I loved all of them, and it was like a thing I liked with my brother. And watching this first one, I realized for like the fourth time in our podcasting career, I have not actually seen this movie.
You know, it's funny, I have seen this movie, and I know I've seen this movie, but I also had the realization of, like, yes, I saw this movie. I was probably 8. I did not remember this movie. It's so fucking weird.
It's very fucking weird. Both these movies are weird in their own rights.
We're talking about $1 Million Baby as well, a movie I'd never seen, but interestingly enough, Rocky and $1 Million Baby are both Best Picture winners.
Oh, shit, for real?
Yes, sir, they are. It's a prestigious episode we're doing today.
Oh.
So I'm told.
So you picked Rocky, and I want to know why.
Well, I saw it a bunch growing up, and like I said, lots of great Rocky movies, and they used to marathon them on TV and stuff. Who doesn't love the Rocky movies, you know?
I mean, I guess I more was wondering why that over one of the better, sequels.
Whoa, first off, fuck you, slow your roll. Second off, this is the classic, man. This has all the classic things. When you're talking about boxing movies, this is the first thing everybody thinks of, and for a reason. Doing a boxing episode, you have to talk about Rocky. It's like, I don't know, it's the law of nature.
That's a fair point. I definitely agree with your decision there to pick Rocky. I just know some people like the other ones better.
But before I ask you about $1 Million Baby, what's your favorite Rocky movie?
I don't remember which one's which, but it's the one where he fights Drago.
Oh, me too. Rocky 4, baby.
I don't know which numbers are which, because I just, it's been so long since I've seen any of them.
But why did you choose $1 Million Baby?
Initially, I wanted to choose Southpaw because that was the first one that popped into my head. But I had heard a lot of things about $1 Million Baby and how it was like a really good movie, but also it had like a lot of negative stuff around it for some reason. And Makushla. I wanted to know what the fuck it meant, and I didn't want to Google it. So
god damn it,
I said, you know what, $1 Million Baby.
It's just all roads lead to $1 Million Baby.
Exactly.
It's a Clint Eastwood directed film, which is always a toss up, as you well know.
Yeah.
But I've never seen this, but it always ranks up there on like the list of like best boxing movies of all time. You have Raging Bull and Rocky and $1 Million Baby is always in there. So
for sure. And I didn't know why, but I do now, I think. I guess.
I have a vague idea.
Yes.
That we might be able to suss out by the end of your segment.
Here's the hoping, I guess.
Let's get to getting, son.
Movie 1, $1 Million Baby, 2004.
All right, Dave, I need to know the synopsis for 2004's Clint Eastwood's The Most Expensive Baby in the World.
It's Blake, it's $1 Million Baby.
The $999,997 baby.
$1 Million Baby.
What is money?
Welcome to the world of boxing. We will watch as our main character, who isn't the boxer, but instead is the manager, because Clint Eastwood ain't no supporting actor, damn it. Frankie's prize fighter, Maggie, will rise to prominence in the boxing world very quickly thanks to Frankie's training, and nothing can stop her, aside from a lone stool.
Oh no, the stool.
Who knew that a wooden seat is the bad guy to this movie? So we open to a boxing match where we meet our old guy trainer, Frankie, played by the guy who won't give up, Clint Eastwood, and his prize fighter, Big Willie, who wins the fight by knockout.
Yeah.
We also meet our lady boxer, Maggie, played by Hilary Swank, who watches from the shadows. Oh, and also Morgan Freeman is narrating for some reason.
So many things going on quickly that I'm like, okay, Mr. Paul Haggis behind the script, tell me what this means and why we're going there, sir.
No.
People love violence. They'll slow down at a car wreck to check for bodies.
Morbid, but true. Anyway, Maggie approaches Frankie after the fights are all over to be like, hey, you want to train me? Because, I mean, you want to train me, right?
Thought you might be interested in training me.
I don't train girls.
Frankie is almost incensed. He doesn't train girls.
Ew.
Not only does he turn down Maggie, he turns down the boxing boss, or whoever the hell that guy was, for a title shot for Big Willie.
The boxing czar.
That's what I said.
2 or 3 more fights, you'll be ready.
Been 2-3 more fights for a long time now, Frankie.
Frankie is at his training gym where he's practicing Gaelic, because that's how you become a great boxing trainer, I guess.
Dude, I don't know. Frankie's like a 95-year-old troll. He's just an asshole, just to be an asshole.
He's a professional edgelord. Anyway.
He invented edgelording in World War I.
Suddenly, Mr. Scrap, who is played by our narrator Morgan Freeman, asks,
Who's your new girl? What?
It's Maggie. And Frankie tells her to kick rocks, you icky girl.
No girls allowed.
Ugh. But you know what? Maggie isn't fazed and keeps incorrectly punching the bag, I guess. And we also find out that Maggie is trash, apparently, by seeing her take home a steak in aluminum foil.
No, whatever. You say trash, I say resourceful, Dave. I'm not saying I often do this, but I do this a lot, actually.
I did not say trash. For clarity's sake, Morgan Freeman said trash.
She was trash.
Self-described via Morgan Freeman as trash.
Exactly. But you know what? Since she already paid her 6 months of dues, Frankie's like, fuck it, let her stay. But don't you give her advice, damn it.
Definitely not, because, again, no women allowed unless we can pretend they're boys for whatever reason.
I don't know.
But this is, you're talking about gym dues, so she has to pay a certain amount of money to practice at this gym?
Yep.
Is that what happens?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. Confusing, but I guess it'll take money from women, just not give training and return. I don't know.
No, because...
Boxing is confusing.
Boxing is confusing, especially in the 50s. Wait, is this not in the 50s?
That's funny you say that, because it does feel like both of these movies feel like period pieces. I know this technically, I guess, takes place in like modern day 2004.
Yeah.
But it feels folksy, and there's some, narration, and there's some like jangly tunes in the background.
And good old fashioned misogyny.
Straight up misogyny.
Keep one shoulder back, so you're always ready to fire a power shot.
Now you get this down, we'll put you on a speed bag.
Damn it, Mr. Scraps, we don't train girls. Ugh. Anyway.
Well, technically, is she Mrs. Scraps, and she's like collecting all the scraps from the table that she works at to eat?
I hate you.
I'm sorry, I didn't even write that down. I just thought of it.
The next day, after a couple of boxers try to talk shit to Maggie and end up getting metaphorically KO'd by her, Frankie does finally have some advice for her.
You're going to find a trainer either in this gym or somewhere else that's going to want to train a girl. But the only trouble is they're going to be wasting your time because you're too old. You're not going to cry now, are you?
No, sir.
Holy shit, Frankie, you can't say that.
He's such a weird prick about this whole thing. Like, also, and not to like sidetrack this too much, but Clint Eastwood sounds like he's putting on a phony old man voice like that cartoons have.
Oh my god, yeah. With the,
is that a choice? It's a bad one.
I think it's just Clint Eastwood. Everything he does is a bad choice. Later that night, Big Willie stops by Frankie's house to let him know that, hey, I know you taught me everything I need to know, but I'm going to go with the guy who doesn't drive my career in the slow lane. You get it? It's an old people joke.
I get it.
See what I did there?
I get it. Driving with his blinkers on, too.
What was I supposed to do? Just put him in over his head?
Oh, you were protecting him from the championship.
Excuse me if I didn't want my fighter spending the second half of his life cleaning up other people's spit.
Oof.
So, turns out Frankie is just an asshole in general, and not just to women.
He's a non-denominational asshole.
Facts. But the next day, we get a Maggie training and buying equipment montage before we watch as Frankie gets to see Big Willie win the championship fight from his couch, because that's what you get, Frank.
Inaction isn't doing you any favors, buddy.
How's that?
It's her birthday.
I'll show you a few things. and then we'll get you a trainer.
So after Frankie finally decides he'll train Maggie, but only if she shuts up and just does what he says, you girl, we get a Maggie training montage again.
I don't know why it took so long for Frankie to take her on. I know it's like, oh, I don't like girls and stuff, but like, bro, you have nothing going for you at all.
What else are you doing? So in this training montage, he's showing her how to move her feet, how to hit a speed bag, how to actually properly punch, and all while Morgan Freeman is just serenading me with his smooth voice about, I don't know, something boxing related.
Dude, I do kind of like, no offense to Morgan Freeman, because he's great and he has a really smooth, buttery voice. I kind of tuned some of this stuff out.
Yes.
Sally here's a real good manager. Looking for a girl, Sally?
I'm looking for a good one.
That felt a little weird, but we'll move past it. So after Maggie pokes around Frankie's family life, Frankie decides enough is enough. I got to pawn this girl off on someone. And she is noticeably hurt by this. Maybe it's because she's a girl.
We don't like those.
Girls have feelings.
They cry and stuff. I don't know.
Gross.
I'm still a virgin.
It's time for Sally's first fight. It's her first fight that we see with this manager. Whatever.
Is this your fighter? It's my fighter.
It ain't fitting her well, Sally.
So Maggie's not doing so hot in her fight, and Sally is just like, nah, you're doing fine. Guess who disagrees and is watching from the shadows because he can't just admit that he wants to train her?
It's Frankie.
Yes.
Who's like, hey, throw the left hook. Hey.
Mr. Scraps is like, she can't hear you, dude.
It's like, no, do something. Move closer.
So mid-fight, Maggie fires Sally, and Frankie tells her one thing, and boom, she just wins the fight.
I actually really like this scene. And some of those like right hooks that she lands, I'm like, oh, it's like crushing. It made me flinch.
Yeah, totally.
I guess that shows that how much of a wuss I am, but that's fine.
Didn't take Maggie long to hit her stride.
So after a weird conversation between Frankie and Mr. Scraps about socks for some reason, we get to see Maggie just knocking chicks out so fast she has to level up. And after she knocks out the first leveled up fighter, Frankie has to start paying opposing managers to let them fight her fighters.
Dude, yeah.
Until she has no choice but to level up again.
But we just hear like the bell ring, the women come out, and Maggie, boom, like just one punch, just knocking these ladies just out, dude.
Which is even more impressive considering how, like a month ago, she couldn't even hit the bag properly.
She's a natural.
Or it's a plot hole.
No, she's a natural.
Nose is broke.
Dang, fix it.
I can't.
So, of course, Maggie wins this fight too, but it took her all the way to the second round.
Dude.
Is boxing only 2 rounds? Because that's... Or is she just ridiculously good?
This fight that Maggie's in is wild. Her nose gets broken, and it makes me squeamish because she's like, just fix it. He's like, no. I'm like, I'm going to call it. She's like, just fix it. And he like crunches it back into place and like gets her blood to stop. And he's like, you have 20 seconds before this starts gushing everywhere, so you better knock this bitch out.
And she's like, done.
Yeah, she does.
After her 12th straight knockout, Frankie got a couple of real good offers.
Yeah, offers he just turns down because now he's grown attached to this girl and now he cares.
I don't think Frankie so much wants to protect Maggie. He wants to protect every other woman in the world who will get destroyed.
Either way, though, I guess Mr. Scraps has had enough of Frankie holding back his fighters because he gives her this big, long speech about how maybe Frankie isn't the manager to get her to a title.
Yeah.
And sets up a meeting with her and this big shot manager, Mickey Mack or whatever.
Which is the dumbest name ever, by the way.
But it's boxing.
Mickey Mack.
Yeah. But you know what? Honestly, it goes pretty well.
Mr. Mickey Mack, I hear you're a real good manager doing good things for Big Willie. But I thought you should know I ain't never leaving Mr. Dunn, so you don't need to make any more excuses to bump into me.
Well, I didn't say who it went well for, now did I?
Oh, nobody. Nobody, because Mickey Mouse over here ain't got no fighter, and Maggie has like really hitched her wagon to Frank, who isn't doing shit.
Nope.
So
also, it's here we find out that every letter that Frankie sends to his daughter, which I guess is a lot, gets sent back, returned to sender. Uh-oh, you're telling me that this cranky old bastard isn't a good father? That's weird.
It's strange. Maybe it's because he keeps calling his daughter a whiny baby girl.
But he may not be a very good father, but he is finally being a good manager because he gets Maggie a fight with a girl in England.
Whoa, only took him 50 years.
Well, he is old. He is driving her career the way he would drive a car.
Into the ground?
Not how you would drive the car.
Into oncoming traffic?
He would drive the car.
Oh, very slow.
Yes.
And again, with the blinkers on.
Exactly.
She wasn't the main attraction. She was on the undercard of a middleweight title fight. But ask someone who was there. They couldn't tell you who else fought that night.
So thanks to the robe that Frankie bought her with the name Makushla on it, tricking all the Irish people in attendance, and how she knocks out another chick, the crowd starts chanting her name. They chant Makushla. So I guess her nickname, I don't know, whatever. She's famous now.
It's like her tagline, but it's also a name. But I don't know. I don't understand. Will we ever get clarity on the Makushla mystery?
Join us next time on First Prize Pod. So after fighting all over Europe, Maggie comes home to the U.S. and she just can't stop knocking chicks out.
It's like a disease. She's walking down the street just fucking cold cocking people. I can't stop. She's really sweet. She just can't help but hitting people.
So much so that she gets another offer to fight for the title. And this time, Frankie's only holding back for more money. So it's in the works.
That little house we talked about, I bought it for my mama. It's all yours, Mama.
You shouldn't have done it. Why don't you just give me the money?
And after we find out that Maggie's mom is a sack of fermented shit,
Well, she's got a title shot. The Blue Bear. $1 million split right down the center.
Maggie finally got her title shot. $1 million split down the middle with the dirtiest fighter in the world. Sounds easy. Sounds super, super easy. Not at all terrifying.
This is definitely going to be fine. No problems. This lady is German?
Yeah, she was, if I remember correctly, she used to be a prostitute in East Berlin.
Oh, that's right. Just knocking fools out.
Yeah. Maggie is whooping this ass, and her opponent is starting the dirty tricks, right? Now we're in round 3, and Maggie's left eye is swollen shut, but that doesn't stop her. She is pummeling her opponent. Hard punches to the face, the liver. Ugh. Hell, she even punches this woman right in her ass, which feels weird. But her opponent is doing things like elbowing her in the face and trying to like throw her into the ropes and bounce her off into her fist and do all kinds of just like dirty shit. This waits until the ref isn't looking and sucker punches Maggie, who then falls headfirst on her stool, which I have to spend some time on this because it bothers me more than anything has ever bothered me my whole entire life. The stool is inexplicably on its side.
As Maggie falls, not headfirst, she falls literally neck first, spinal cord first, onto the edge of this fucking stool. And I'm like, no, don't do this to me, movie. You hit the brakes right now.
This thing doesn't have any brakes at all, Blake.
They're telling them I'm a C1 and C2 complete. Means my spinal cord's so broken, I'll never be able to fix it. Gonna be frozen like this the rest of my life.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Bro, fuck this movie.
I agree, because now we're in the hospital, and a lot happens in the next few minutes, but it starts out with Maggie telling Mr. Scraps that she should have kept her hands up. She's blaming herself for this. And then Frankie blames Mr. Scraps for this. Nobody is blaming the who did it.
I know. And I get they're like distraught. I mean, this is like a life-changing thing. Like Maggie is paralyzed from the neck down. This is just, well, I wouldn't say a freak accident because the bear fucking sucks.
This was a freak on purpose.
That's a criminal act, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, there should be charges for this.
We should have spent the last half hour of this movie with that part of the story.
What, the courtroom proceedings? Yes. This turned into an Aaron Sorkin drama.
The rehab center Frankie found was a nice place.
Speaking of the rehab place, Frankie is spending all of his free time there with Maggie. And he does things like he tries to make her read Gaelic, which is annoying.
And her favorite pastime? Question mark.
I don't know. They daydream about living in a cabin, and Maggie even makes a joke about her learning how to bake.
This is so sad. I'm laughing, only to keep from crying.
But the good/sad times come to an abrupt theme park stop when Maggie's family shows up in their souvenirs.
Oof.
Oh, and they brought a fucking lawyer.
For nefarious reasons.
If you assign your assets to your mother, no one will be able to touch them.
It's just something legal to protect your money.
So the human trash bag, a.k.a. Maggie's mom, tries to con her into signing away all of her money and assets and generally trying to take advantage of her now quadriplegic daughter, which is like level of frustrating.
It's so gross, dude.
It's so gross. But Maggie ain't taking this lying down. Oh, wait.
Oh, hard exit for me.
Mama, you take Mardale and JD and get home.
Before I tell that lawyer there that you're so worried about your welfare, you never signed those house papers like you're supposed to. So anytime I feel like it, I can sell that house from under your fat, lazy hillbilly ass. And if you ever come back, that's exactly what I'll do.
Oh, damn! Fucking damn. Maggie is still delivering knockout blows when she can't even use her arms.
Sometimes the pen is mightier than the sword. She can't hold anything, actually.
Oh, boy. You know what it's time for, Blake?
Oh, what?
More depressing news. Maggie has to lose one of her legs because of, I think, gangrene. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I will give it to Frankie here because he isn't giving up. He's like, hey, you should go back to college. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. I mean, he finally found a woman that he could pretend is his daughter that doesn't fucking hate him.
I got a favor to ask you, Bob.
Sure. Anything you want.
Remember what my daddy did for Axel?
Maggie is asking Frankie to take her to go live on a farm.
What?
So basically, Maggie wants to be euthanized because people were chanting her name, and she wants to go out on top, not confined to a wheelchair, just spending every day in the same room. I mean, like, okay, but Frankie obviously tells her no, and she, you know what, she takes this pretty well, if I'm being honest.
In the middle of the night, Mag had found her own solution. She'd bit her tongue, nearly bled to death before they stitched her up.
Well, I am very uncomfortable now.
I probably would want the same thing, but like, hey, buddy, trainer guy who saw me at the best, just like kill me a little bit.
What's funny is that she's basically like, you know what, I'm going to do this with or without help. And it made me wonder one very specific thing.
What?
Is she a millennial by chance?
I do relate to this. So,
yeah.
This is awful, dude. This makes me feel awful.
Yeah, and it makes Frankie feel awful, too, because now he's desperate and doesn't know what to do. So he asks the priest that cussed at him earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
And the priest is like, yeah, you can't fucking do that. That's, the worst kind of sin. Forget about your faith. Forget about your daughter. Forget about anything. You're going to burn in hell.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, you will be lost forever. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, landing on a little thick.
Honestly, that basically makes Frankie's decision for him.
I'm going to disconnect your air machine, and you're going to go to sleep. And I'll give you a shot, and you'll stay asleep.
So this is wading into really dark waters. Let's lighten it up a little bit here, huh? Frankie finally tells Maggie what Makushla means. It means my darling, my blood. That is not any lighter. Son of a bitch!
I thought it was just the Gaelic interpretation of the McDonald's theme song. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Makushla.
Makushla. Like, shit, I saved this all the way until the end, dog. This is really anticlimactic. She's like, what? It stood for what? Anyway, night.
Bye, forever, you're dead.
Frankie didn't leave a note, and nobody knew where he went.
Yeah, no shit. He's on the lam because he just committed murder.
Get the fuck out of here, dog.
Right? He just left her air tube disconnected, so people are going to very clearly know that she was murdered.
This went from a euthanasia case to full-blown murder really quick.
Anyway, we find out why Morgan Freeman has been narrating this whole time. It's because Mr. Scraps has been writing a letter to Frankie's daughter asking her to forgive Frankie, which maybe he shouldn't have waited till after Frankie kills a woman, but what do I know?
Yeah, freaking timing, buddy.
Read the room, bro. Roll credits.
Well, that was fun.
You know, it's funny because when I first said, let's do $1 Million Baby, I remember there being something about a stool.
Dude, I didn't know anything about this movie.
As she gets hit in that final fight and she starts falling, I'm like, oh, that's right, she breaks her neck. And then we went a half an hour more in this movie.
Literally, I had the same reaction. I'm watching, it's like late at night. I was like, I'm going to watch this fun little boxing movie to cap my evening off. And I'm like, oh, there's like a bunch of these like really cool fight montages. And we get to see Maggie just like knocking these ladies out. Mm-hmm. It was really cool, really brutal. And then she breaks her neck. And I was like, oh, this sucks. And I literally paused it to go to the bathroom. And I came back and I was like, we still have like 35 minutes of this. It was hard to get through, honestly. It's a tough watch there at the end, but like, it's good. Clint Eastwood doesn't always sell me.
No.
You know a little bit about his directing method, right?
He only gives his actors one take. And for those of you who don't know anything about the acting business, you get upwards of like 10, 15, 20 takes, depending on how the director feels. Sometimes you could do the same scene all day long if the director isn't feeling how you're performing it.
Looking at you, David Fincher.
Yep. Clint Eastwood is like, you get one and then we're moving on.
Hilary Swank knocks it out of the park.
Oh, she crushes it,
She is so good. Morgan Freeman's really good. And honestly, Clint Eastwood himself is fine. He has some funky choices throughout this,
he does.
I think. All these people are written weird, and you can tell these are first-take performances.
Oh, absolutely. But honestly, I think we spent enough time on this movie. I want to get into Rocky because I'm Italian and he's a stallion. Wait, I said that wrong.
Oh, yeah. What do they call you?
They call me, Dave.
It's time for the main event of the evening.
Movie 2, Rocky, 1976.
Okay, Blake, we have to jump right into this because I want to see how you treat this Italian and his stallion. That's not what I meant.
What?
Just go ahead and give me the synopsis for Rocky.
It's 1975, and Rocky Balboa is a 30-year-old high school dropout who lives to fight. When he's chosen to fight Apollo Creed for the World Heavyweight Championship, he'll have to avoid obstacles like dysentery from undercooked dairy products, dysentery from undercooked meat products, and stairs. All of this while falling in love with the local pet shop clerk.
We open to our boy Rocky Balboa, Dave, played by Sylvester Stallone. He's boxing a man in a local homeless shelter. It might just be a warehouse. I don't know. Either way, it's confusing because everyone is dressed like it's outside, inside. The point is, it's grungy and ruthless. Now, though, after Rocky, short for Rock'em Sock'em, gets headbutted, he lays his opponent out for the win. And you know what Rocky gets for winning his match, Dave, right?
Is it one of those inflatable, like, clowns that you punch?
Close, but here's a hint. It's more than what you get in an actual homeless shelter, but not by much.
Balboa, you get winner's share, $65. Less $15 locker and corner and 7% tax. Comes to $40.55.
$40.55. I don't know if that amount factors in the concussion and early funeral costs, but if not, then Rocky technically paid somebody to punch him in the face over and over and over again.
Hey, your old man did pretty good tonight.
So Rocky comes home to his roommates, 2 turtles and a goldfish.
That's a show right there.
He also hangs his hat on a knife that has been stabbed into the wall. It's so weird. And Rocky checks himself out in a mirror covered with pictures of himself. I don't even have a joke. Rocky needs some help. But also, I don't remember this movie being so weird.
You know, the last turtle food I got here had more moths in it than flies. You know that, Adrian?
We're going to take some time now to learn about Rocky's day-to-day life. It's also weird and sad.
I also can't get past the random barbershop quartet on the street.
There's so many strange, like, neighborhood things. Philly seems bonkers in the 70s, too.
True.
But Rocky hangs out in a pet shop for a bit. He's trying to talk to this mousy woman behind the counter named Adrian, played by Talia Shire, in her second appearance on this show this season, Dave.
I gotta smack them on the back of the show, and what do you think they get? Show shot. They get show shot.
Anyway, Rocky has some business to attend to, breaking a dude's fingers.
Don't hit the face! No, not the face! The Gazzo wants the 200 now.
So Rocky is the muscle for a loan shark named Gazzo, which means he gets paid to rough up the deadbeats who owe Gazzo money.
Yeah, I don't know why, but this somehow feels an attack straight at my Italianness.
Well, attack or not, this is exactly how Rocky affords to have so many sad animals living with him, Dave. But he's no regular muscle. You know, he's the strongest muscle. He's the heart muscle because he takes all of this guy's money and doesn't even break his fingers, Dave. See? Class act.
Doubt it.
Hey, Ruff, heard you did real good last night.
Absolutely, should have seen me.
So Rocky heads back to his boxing gym where he finds he's not really welcome there anymore.
Yeah.
His locker has been given to somebody else. A real contender, see? Mickey, played by Burgess Meredith, who looks like he's 25 heartbeats from death. But in fact, Mickey owns the gym, and he's got some choice words for Rocky.
You got heart, but you fight like a goddamn ape. Nothing special about you.
Newsflash, Mickey, the name of this movie you are currently in is Rocky. After leaving the gym, disappointed, of course, Rocky mumbles incessantly at Adrian in the pet store about birds, and she barely says 2 words to him. Like, buddy, take the hint.
Listen, Rocky is a high school dropout, so he clearly can't read, especially this room.
Oh, dude. Like, what's your move? You, Dave Holland. What is your move if a girl that you're talking to or trying to talk to isn't taking the bait?
Give up and go home.
Wrong. You find her brother at the local bar and you mumble to him about all the work you're doing to try to woo his sister, and you get him to tell her to like you. It's old-fashioned, but it works, Dave.
Feels very weird.
Shut up. It's tradition.
Hey, yo, Paul, every day, every night I pass by, your sister's giving me the shoulder, you know what I mean? Then every night I pass by the place I tell a joke. Every morning I pass by the place I tell a joke. Nothing.
Bro, get better jokes.
Right,
dog.
be
How about that? From one person who needs to get better jokes to another, take my advice or just fuck off. I don't know. It's weird. Stop acting this way.
Listen, as the authority for jokes, get better at it.
That's a joke, Mayor Dave Holland. Also, I want to point out that before Rocky walks into the bar to talk to Paulie, he literally picks up a really drunk man who may or may not be homeless and walks into the bar with him over his shoulder and just dumps him into a booth.
Hey, he's a nice guy. Get it? See? Look, he's even helping the homeless guy.
But on the TV inside the bar, Rocky sees a news interview with the one, the only heavyweight boxing champ of the world, Apollo Creed, played by Carl Weathers, also making his second appearance on our show this season.
That one I recognized.
Dylan! You
Dylan,
son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
You're speaking now of your much publicized bicentennial fight.
That's right. This is going to be the greatest sporting event in the country's history.
In the country's history?
I don't know about all that, man.
Did you not see the 1937 Javelin Cup in Tampa? Horrible bloodbath. So obviously Apollo Creed is going to be our antagonist for the film, but what I love about this script is that Creed isn't a villain.
No.
Like Rocky stands up for him to the bartender, and he's treated as an actual good guy in the script, Apollo is, and he just happens to be the best heavyweight boxer in the world. It's pretty cool. I actually really like that dynamic.
I agree. I thought it was very cool of him to be like, no, he's great, man.
But more on that later, because right now Rocky has to teach 12-year-old Marie about what a whore is.
Whore. You understand? Whore. See, you use dirty words and maybe you end up becoming a whore. You understand?
So for context, he's walking home, like I said with the drunk guy before. He sees one of like the neighborhood kids who's a 12-year-old girl named Marie, and she's like talking shit and stuff, and he drags her out and brings her home, and he's like telling her that she's gonna be a whore. And I get what he's trying to say, but I think there's a few more steps between bad words and sex work. And if there isn't, I think I'm missing some back pay. That's all I'm saying.
What?
Anyway, Marie has some words of her own for Rocky.
Hey, Rocky.
Yo.
Screw you, creepo.
Calm it down, Marie, you little whore.
Says here Mackley Green has suffered a severely cracked third metacarpal in his left hand. Of course, we can cancel the fight indefinitely.
Now, you better find me another ranked contender, and I mean in the Flash Jergens.
Now that Apollo Creed is in Philly for the fight, there's a problem. His contender, Mackley Green, has a broken metatarsocarpal. I don't know. I'm not an orthodontist, but the point is they need someone for Apollo to fight.
Oh, wait. So who are they going to get him to fight?
That's a great question, because Apollo has a pretty good idea of what to do. He wants to embarrass a local Philly fighter on the national stage, I guess, ensuring they will never be able to show their face again in any ring.
So Apollo Creed on January 1st gives a local underdog fighter an opportunity. A Snow White underdog, and I'm going to put his face on this poster with me.
And you know how they're going to find that fighter, Dave? The phone book or something. It's like some kind of book with a listing of boxers, I guess.
It's the boxing phone book? The boxing white pages? I don't...
Exactly. I was like, is this something out of like a different era that I don't understand? Like, do you have to register to be a boxer and they like, publish something?
Well, you do have to register your guns.
Oh, it's a double
Gun
meaning
show?
joke.
Double
Gun
entendre.
show.
Yeah.
Hot damn.
I did it.
So when Apollo's looking through this like weird phone book thing, he sees Rocky's snazzy name, and he's hooked, dude.
This is what I'm looking for. The Italian Stallion.
Rocky Balboa? Never heard of him.
You never heard of Rocky Balboa?
What?
Have you talked to your local turtles, dog?
Have you never been into the local pet store?
Everybody knows him.
Jesus.
He'll drag your drunk ass back into the bar. So Apollo has decided he wants to fight Rocky despite never meeting him or seeing him fight. And I gotta say, I don't get how boxing works. Why does one fighter get to choose who he fights for a world championship fight? Isn't there like a system in place?
This feels very wrong.
We gotta move on to even more weird stuff.
I love it. Let's do it.
Hey,
Your sister, you sure your sister knows I'm coming?
Yeah.
So Paulie, Adrian's brother and Rocky's pal, remember him?
Yes.
He invites Rocky over for Thanksgiving dinner, promising to hook him up with his sister. And this scene is so bizarre and makes me feel so weird because Adrian, she's mad that Paulie didn't tell her Rocky was coming over, but Paulie wants her to go out on a date with Rocky. And to get her out of the house, he opens the hot oven, stabs the turkey with a knife, and fucking throws it out the door. What are you doing?
This is the story of how Charlie from the Mighty Ducks became an alcoholic and wants people to fuck his family.
You want the bird? Go in the alley and eat the bird.
Oh,
I want you out of here. Get out of the house.
This is so shitty.
It's like the worst thing ever.
And Rocky doesn't say anything. He's happy to keep Marie from being the neighborhood bicycle, but when Paulie is abusing his sister, Rocky doesn't do shit. And actually, Dave, even worse, when she goes to her room, he doesn't comfort her. He tries to convince her to go on a date with him.
It's very, very awful. And not even the worst part of this interaction yet.
Dude, it's not.
I know you ain't too happy at this moment, you know? But could you do me a favor, you know? I ain't got nobody to spend Thanksgiving with, you know?
Bruh. Let it go. She just had her hard work thrown in the alley by her brother, who also called her a loser, and now you want her to spend time with you so you cannot be alone on Thanksgiving? What is happening?
Stuff.
The weirdest part of all this, too, Dave, is that Adrian, I guess worn down by life and everyone around her, opens the door, fully dressed and ready to go on that date. She walks out with Rocky like she's going to the gallows.
I am so confused.
It's so weird, and it's only made worse when Rocky decides to take her ice skating on Thanksgiving, and what I can only imagine is the worst first date ever.
This ice skating scene would be really cute if Rocky would stop talking about himself.
Bro, we're gonna get to it.
We're closed.
What?
I said we're closed.
You can see she ain't feeling too good, so if you could let her on the ice, I'd appreciate it. You know, only for a few minutes.
10 minutes, $10.
$10. How about $8?
Rocky haggles with the worker at the ice rink to let them on the ice, but only Adrian gets skates. Rocky just shuffles along in his shoes. What? Why? Was he scared that skating makes him look like too much of a girl or something?
Listen.
Is this a Clint Eastwood origin story?
Ice skating's for girls.
See, all I wanted to do out of fight was prove I was no bum, that I had the stuff to make a good pro, you know?
On top of all this, she barely says anything. All he does is talk her ear off about boxing. It's like the most one-sided date I've ever seen in my life. He even shows her pictures of himself that he just keeps in his pockets. What a madman.
I carry pictures of all my fights. I lost that fight, but that's a nice picture, don't you think? See how it works there?
So this date can't get any worse, right?
Hey, you want to come inside?
no, I gotta go.
Hey, come on. Hey, I got some animals.
Dude, Adrian does not want to come inside, but he convinces her to. And then when she is inside, she wants to leave. Obviously, look at his apartment. It's weird.
It's weird.
Rocky doesn't want her to. And then he tells her,
You don't want to kiss me back if you don't want. I want to kiss you.
and then they kiss. Adrian looks so uncomfortable.
But she's into it.
At first, she is not into it.
And then she's like, oh, he does have nice lips.
This entire interaction looks like Adrian is trying to find a way to jump out the window or something. She looks so uncomfortable.
Would you be interested in fighting Apollo Creed for the World Heavyweight Championship?
Rocky, it's the chance of a lifetime. You can't pass it by.
So Rocky finally gets that fight invitation from Apollo's manager, Mr. Juergens of Lotion fame.
Yes.
And Rocky is skeptical, mostly because of the brain bleeds, but he accepts the offer anyway. So he goes on TV to announce the fight and gives a shout out to the woman he just forced to be his new girlfriend, Adrian.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's leaving a voicemail.
Yo, Adrian, it's me, Rocky.
We know it's you. We can see you on. It's called television.
Rocky doesn't know how cameras work.
It's so funny. The childlike wonder in his eyes. But now that Rocky's profile has exploded overnight, everyone wants a piece of him. And Paulie, he wants to help with stuff, but most importantly, Mickey, who owns the boxing gym, he wants to be Rocky's manager. Now, this skepticism from Rocky is definitely warranted because, one day ago, Mickey was calling Rocky a bum and all this stuff. It's crazy.
I'm like, how convenient. Now you want to be his manager? It's almost as if something major happened.
And Rocky sees right through this shit.
Well, what you need is a manager. I want to give you this knowledge. I want to take care of you. I want to make sure that all the shit that happened to me doesn't happen to you.
Is he trying to adopt Rocky?
Maybe try and woo him because he's like, oh, baby, let me teach you all the good things. Let me teach you how.
So Rocky freaks out at him for not believing in him sooner, and I'm on Rocky's side because Mickey just looks like an old opportunist trying to pad his bank account for the, home he's going to be in about 10 minutes. So Rocky has some words for him.
I ain't asked no favors from you. Don't slum around me.
Talk about your pride.
What about my pride, Nick?
Good for you, Rocky.
Yes.
Stand up for yourself. Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, what?
Wait, stop. One scene after this, he still makes Mickey his manager.
Yeah, he chases him down the fucking street, and he's like, you know what? Let's do it.
Maybe he's hoping Mickey will die so he doesn't actually have to pay him. Listen, I don't have time to dwell on matters of the domestic, Dave. There's something I need you to listen to.
I don't want to.
Hold on there. Well, we deserve it. We've been getting away with murder for the last couple of weeks.
Do you recognize that sound, Dave?
No.
That is the sound of a man getting salmonella at 4 a.m. Rocky tosses back an uncooked 3-egg breakfast down his gullet, and he hits the street in some prison sweats because he's got to get in shape for the big fight, Dave.
Which is weird to me because why aren't you already in shape? Don't you box now, currently?
So after a mild bout of debilitating diarrhea, Rocky fails to climb the steps of the Philadelphia Museum of Art, but at least he has a goal now. And tapeworms. He has tapeworms, too. And Rocky doesn't get too down about all this stuff because Paulie lets him into the meat punching factory where he works, which is pretty cool. For Rocky, not the cow that was killed and his corpse battered by a man filled with raw eggs. I will never, ever get over this, Dave. It's a weird visual, and it makes me feel bad.
All I'm saying is Rocky is like, you know what? I have salmonella. I also need E. coli.
You lay off that pet shop, Dave. Women weaken legs.
Yeah, but I really like this girl, you know?
But let her train you!
You can't have both.
Apparently you can't, because back at the gym, Mickey, he's training Rocky, but he, along with me, is not having any of this love story between him and Adrian. I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure he forbids Rocky from coming until after the fight, because not finishing makes him a better boxer? Am I a boxer? I don't know how this works.
Yes, you definitely are. You should absolutely test this theory out.
By continuing not to finish?
No, by going to a boxing gym and telling them I'm a boxer, I don't finish.
I'll be welcomed with open arms.
Hey, champ, you ought to come look at this boy you're going to fight on TV. It's like he means business.
Yeah, I mean business too. Hey, Shirley, we got any more coffee out there?
So, lots of stuff is happening now. Rocky continues to train while the news films him punching meat, and we get a little insight into how Apollo Creed is training, or rather isn't training, because he's all up in his business stuff at his office, while Rocky is on the TV working his ass off. And I think this is actually a really good bit of filmmaking here, because Apollo, again, isn't a dick. He's just concerned with other things. And there's this great shot where, we get introduced to Rocky being interviewed, and we see him on the TV, and we pull back from his intense workouts in the meat factory to Apollo Creed in a nice suit behind the desk. He's just worried about other things. So there's a pretty cool back and forth on how hard Rocky has to work versus how fucking awesome Apollo Creed already is.
Right.
Like the guy says, you're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna crap thunder. You're gonna become a very dangerous person.
Those are some wise words from Mickey, by the way.
Oh.
And we're getting closer to the fight, and training is picking up, Dave. And after what I assume was a 6-egger morning, Rocky hits the streets with the famous music playing, and he gets all the way to the top of the stairs without even shitting his pants a little bit.
Listen, he might as well just quit right there. He won. He did it.
He's made peace with the salmonella. Can we talk for just 1 second about the lyrics to this song? I know this is a famous song, but does it need lyrics?
Nope, I don't think so.
I never realized just how funny and on the nose they are, because it's like getting strong now, won't be long now, gonna fly now. Good. I mean, good stuff. 10 out of 10. Would listen to more lyrics, but very, very on the nose.
It's like they aren't sure we were understanding what we were going to be seeing on the screen.
Right. It's like pepper him with a little context. He's getting stronger. Yeah, more stuff like that. It won't be long now. But with that giant soaring high comes the almighty low. Dave, Rocky has an existential crisis about the fight that may actually just be an aneurysm.
Well, yeah, it could be.
I can't beat him.
Apollo?
I mean, who am I kidding? I ain't even in the guys' league. Because I was thinking, it really don't matter if I lose this fight. Because all I want to do is go the distance.
This is actually a great little scene. Essentially, Rocky tells Adrian that winning the fight isn't what matters to him. What matters is sticking it out and going all 15 rounds with a world champion. And if he can do that, he'll prove to himself that he's not just some bum with an aquarium full of turtles. He'll be a real boxer with an aquarium full of turtles.
A 50-1 underdog living a Cinderella story, and he's captured people's imaginations all over the world.
Rocky Balboa climbing into the ring now.
The time has come. We're ready for the big fight, Dave. Can Rocky go the distance?
No? Yes. No. I don't know.
And there's the bell for round one.
I gotta say, it is a rough start, man. Rocky is taking punch after punch after punch to the face until he sees his chance.
What's his chance, Blake?
Hey, I don't believe it. Hey, the champ is down. This is the first time the champion has ever been knocked down.
What?
Yeah, Rocky lands a skull-crushing punch that sends Apollo to the ground. The fight's getting real. It's actually really good. It's really entertaining.
Yeah.
And Mickey even adds insult to injury.
Your nose is broke.
How's it look?
That's an improvement.
Savage, dog.
Absolutely savage. Like the most savage.
But Rocky and Apollo are neck and neck the whole time, dude. Like round after round goes by and our two fighters are lumbering around by the end like zombies trying to decide if they should eat the other one. They look all fucked up.
They're both trying to make sure the other one quits first.
You do it. No, you do it. No, not till you do it.
I can't see nothing. Gotta open my eye. Come here, man.
Ew.
What? Hang on. What?
They cut his eyes. Essentially, Rocky gets punched in the face so many times, his eyes are so swollen, he can't see out of them. So they're like a guy who cuts his eye open and squirts all the blood out so he can open his eye again and he can see. It's so gross. So nasty. So anyway, the final round begins. These dudes, Dave, are looking rough. They take hit after hit from each other.
Oh my God.
The blood is flying everywhere until the fight is over, which means after 15 rounds, they basically decide who wins, like by decision. There's points given out in boxing.
Mm-hmm. No idea how it works, but yeah.
I literally had to look this up on the internet. Good news, bad news. Rocky does go the distance, but he loses the fight by decision, which means they decided point-wise he didn't win.
Right.
But again, he goes the distance. He proved himself to himself, but the only thing he can think of right now is getting laid.
Rocky, I love you.
Rocky and Adrian hug, and we get a freeze frame and roll credits, I guess. Holy shit.
God.
This movie ends so abruptly that for the first time on this show, I actually wanted more of an epilogue.
Yeah. I was actually happy with it. I'm like, yeah, okay.
I wanted more from this. This is such a weird movie. I straight up couldn't believe it. It felt like a weird college art film kind of.
Yes.
Like just everything was bizarre.
It was very strange. Looking back and knowing what I know now, you can definitely tell that Sylvester Stallone wrote this movie. And
and ad-libbed pretty much 30% of it.
Yes, forgot his lines and just kept going.
Repeating them.
But yeah, dude, it was way stranger than I remember it being. And by remember it being, I mean, remember what people said about it, because I obviously have never seen it.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's only 2 fights in this entire movie. The first scene and the last scene.
Oh, you're right. Holy shit.
I'm pretty sure. But this is a slice of life kind of movie without like a ton of plot per se.
Yeah.
I like some of the dynamics, though, that are laid out. Like, after Rocky on TV, he sees Apollo telling kids, like, stay in school and use their brains instead of trying to be athletes.
Right.
He immediately takes a 12-year-old Marie off the streets by force and calls her a whore. Same idea. Same idea, just executed in two very different ways.
Yes.
It is an interesting movie. I was so baffled by a lot of things in this that I couldn't stop watching. I don't know. It was captivating.
It was very captivating, and it was it's a weird feeling because I remember the rest of the Rocky movies that I've seen being way more put together.
Because the later Rocky films are like actual movies. Yeah. But this was definitely a swing for Sylvester Stallone to do this and to make this version, which again is very specific and weird.
Very weird.
I don't think would be replicated if a major studio had done this.
No, absolutely not. But all I can think about now is what we're going to do in the Thunderdome.
I have so many things. So let's take a second, go out to the alley, get out our frustrations, and come back really focused.
Just make sure you get all the stools out of the apartment.
Movie versus movie. Welcome to the Thunderdome. This place fucking rules.
Hi, I'm Thunderdome, Dolphins are fish, and this is Punch Drunk Yelly Hour. We've made it.
And I am Stoolbound Tough Guy, and we're ready to dine in and dine out, if you know what I mean.
Sure don't. But before we watch these movies, Dave, you and I decide on 5 things that we both agree make a good genre movie, in this case, boxing movie. So let's go through them.
Let's punch through them. What?
Huh? Number 1, we need an underdog boxer.
They may not know how to fight, but damn, I'm rooting for them.
Number 2, we need a reluctant trainer.
I don't want to train you. Ugh.
Number 3, we need rigorous training.
Okay, but why are you so out of shape?
Number 4, we need an unrelated subplot.
Why is this happening now?
And number 5, we need a big fight for our main character to prove themselves.
If you're not good enough, go home, I guess.
Well, starting in with underdog boxer. Everyone knows the story of Rocky. He's the classic film boxing underdog. He's just an ordinary neighborhood meathead from Philly who punches meat, but was never given a chance until he was picked from a phone book or something. I don't actually understand how this happened. But what makes him a great underdog is that when given the opportunity of a lifetime, he doesn't back down or cower to anything. Rocky really leans into it with 3 eggs to the dome every morning and ultimately proves to himself and the world what he's capable of. It's an incredible underdog story from an incredible underdog man.
Yeah, I definitely think that Rock'em Sock'em Balboa is definitely a really good underdog. Wait, that you said that was his full name?
No, you just called him by his full name. It's fine.
Cool.
Yeah, we get it.
Just making sure.
We get it.
But I will say that Maggie Fitzgerald is to the letter an underdog boxer.
Yeah.
I think even more so because not only does she not know how to fight properly, she is poor as hell, and her family is trash. And most importantly, she's a girl.
Oh my God.
Honestly, what makes it even worse for her is that she moved from the South all the way to Los Angeles to be a boxer, and she's also too old. She's 31. That's not when you start boxing. She's definitely to the letter an underdog.
Everything's terrible for her, but she just has that smile on her face, and she's just so driven, and you cannot help but get behind her.
Yes, which actually kind of leads us perfectly into our next point, which is reluctant trainer. So there might not be a more reluctant trainer than Frankie Dunn. He tells Maggie over and over and over, no, I don't train girls, you have cooties. And with her charm and persistence, she finally wears him down.
Yeah.
But even then, he tries to pawn her off on another manager before he finally gives up and just promises never to leave. But that's half of the movie, so it counts.
As much as this is a story of Maggie and her stuff, it's more so a story of Frank and his arc of going from an old asshole to an even older, less of an asshole. I think it is a nice story, but for my money, Mickey is the classic reluctant trainer. He fucking hates Rocky, dude.
It's so true.
He calls him all sorts of names and stuff because he saw potential in Rocky, but disagreed with him because he's the muscle for Gazzo, the loan shark guy.
Yeah.
So Mickey obviously has a ton of experience himself as a fighter and a trainer, but his reluctance towards Rocky is quelled when Rocky is chosen by Apollo. It makes him an opportunist leech at worst, but at best, he now has an opportunity to mold Rocky into the great fighter he knows he has the potential to be without the caveat of him being involved with these sketchy loan sharky people. He now has Rocky all to himself to really push him to his potential that we are told he has seen for a while.
Yeah, sure, Mick. But he does do a really good job of saying random things one after the other that don't necessarily string together a coherent thought.
Kind of non sequiturs, but he does train him pretty good.
Yeah, I give him that.
That actually is a perfect segue into our next point, rigorous training. I'm going to say this a lot. Okay. But the Rocky training montages are not only the gold standard for boxing movies, but sports movies in general, dude.
Yeah.
He's doing all of this like low-tech stuff, like punching dead cows and running upstairs and stuff and like waving at the neighborhood residents. And it works. Like, it's actually really fun to see all the inventive ways he trains, since we know that he lives in squalor, essentially, in a walk-in closet with knives stabbed into the walls. So it's pretty inspiring, even for a cynic like me, to see him like pull himself out of the stuff and like stick to his guns and continue working hard and doing whatever he can with whatever he has to make this thing work on a national stage, dude.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you that Rocky sort of invented the training montage in terms of, movie experiences. But I will say that Maggie kind of does the same thing, just less eggs. She goes through a ridiculous amount of training. Yeah. She runs, she does sit-ups, she punches punching bags, she eats people's leftover dinners from her diner, all the standard stuff. But nonetheless, it's very rigorous. So much so that she goes from being inept and an embarrassment to having an undefeated knockout record of like 14 and I was going to say, but it's 1. But it's insane.
14 and 1 neck. Oh. I think her training stuff is a little less focused on $1 Million Baby. We just kind of get a little touch of it, and then we get right into the fighting, which I think benefits the film.
I agree.
But yeah, I think you are right. Rocky kind of set the bar for those kinds of sequences.
Rocky's movies like got more training in it than $1 Million Baby. It feels more relevant to him.
But there's a lot of things in both movies that I think are not very relevant at all.
That's true. And that helps us get to our next point here, unrelated subplot. So the unrelated subplot in $1 Million Baby is twofold. For one, we got Frankie having an estranged daughter, but we don't find out why or when or none of that shit. It's just another reason why Frankie's a cranky old bitch. But we also get to the subplot of Maggie's family. They are literal scum who get mad that she bought them a house and then try and steal her money once she's paralyzed. Of course, neither of these stories were necessary, and we could have taken them out, but I think that makes my case stronger for this point because they're so unrelated.
I fully disagree with you, actually, because in my head, all of that adds to Maggie's character and shows us why she's the way she is and what she's overcome to be where she's at. It gives us context and all those little touches and even the Frankie missing in action daughter thing.
Yeah.
Even though it's not touched on too much, it's hinted at, it still feeds into why he is the way he is and why they need each other. But the romantic subplot in Rocky feels so disconnected and unrelated. And I understand that, again, this is a slice of life kind of movie, but we spend a lot of time on Rocky's quest for Adrian, but it doesn't really amount to anything or change the trajectory of like Rocky's fight. It could have been like, man, I was like having a hard time and then I fell in love with this woman and she gave me the inspiration to fight or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the most bizarre part of this movie. The only thing that ties their relationship into this entire movie is that they never talk about anything else except for boxing.
No, they really don't.
I assume even when they're having sex, he's like, oh, hey, anyway, did you see that fight with me and like Ray? Yeah. And the reason we put this here is because a lot of boxing movies tend to be a little bit light in plot, and they feel the need to add things to kind of pad out the movie.
Right.
Because there's only so much boxing and people punching each other we can really see before it just all turns into the same kind of thing. So Rocky has that in spades, buddy.
Yeah, and honestly, there isn't that much fighting in Rocky to begin with. So
in the beginning, but also at the end when we get to the big fight for Rocky to prove himself. So the big fight for Rocky is, of course, the matchup between himself and Apollo Creed for the heavyweight championship of the world. And it's a great fight, too. Honestly, like lots of back and forth and lots of drama. But what I find most interesting is that Rocky doesn't care whether he wins or loses. It's all about proving to himself that he is somebody, that he's not just a 30-year-old loser with a speech impediment. He's a 30-year-old loser with a speech impediment on television, Dave. I'm not kidding, obviously. But seeing Rocky get through all 15 rounds is really compelling and inspirational. And I remember hearing, when I was a kid, like, oh yeah, it's Rocky. He loses at the end. But it's such like a barely almost mentioned thing in this movie. Right. It's like a quick little thing where they're like, oh, Apollo Creed by decision. He goes, woo, and then we're moving on. It doesn't matter.
It happened so fast, I missed it. I literally was like, wait, who fucking won?
Yeah. Dude, because it doesn't matter. Like, people build these sports movies out to be like, whoever wins the big game or wins the big fight or whatever comes out on top. But this has nothing to do with that, to be honest.
It doesn't. And I got to give it to you on this one. I think that Rocky Balboa has more to prove than Maggie Fitzgerald, because Maggie's big fight isn't necessarily to prove herself, but instead is just to continue steamrolling literally every opponent she ever has. And she's doing a really good job at it. She is absolutely pummeling the Blue Bear lady, like much so that the woman can't take it and cheap shot sucker punches Maggie into paralyzation. So like, she almost proved herself, but as Frankie points out, she didn't win. So
I actually really hated that aspect about $1 Million Baby. Not that she didn't win, but that people brought up, well, you didn't win. It's like, bitch, she got her neck broken.
Right.
Her mom even is like, well, you lost. And I was like, that's bad writing.
I'm going to disagree. I think that her mom saying it is like, oh, you bitch. And then when Frankie says, you're like, shut up, bitch. Like, it shows the dichotomy of what she's leaving behind by telling her mom to fuck off and gaining by saying, you know what, I'm with you, Frankie.
It's a fair point. I guess with the family, it felt a little on the nose because the mom before was like, oh, I don't watch that shit. People make fun of you. They laugh at you around these parts. Now she's like, oh, I did kind of see it, and you lost. It just felt so much like, do you get it? These people suck. Don't you get it?
Fair.
But no, I understand your point, though, and I think it's a fine point. Both of these movies just have a lot of these things going for it, and I think they're both great movies, but very different movies.
Very different movies, yes.
It's wild.
Neither one of them at the end is really about boxing. So
no, and to be fair, I don't think any boxing movie or sports movie is ever really about the sport itself.
Hey, shut up. So on that note,
on that contentious note.
Hey, look, we did it. It's the finish line. We're at the finish line. Can I go home yet? All right.
All right, we made it to our final round, Dave. We've gone the distance, and now we have to figure out our winner by decision. And you can start because I hate you.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Okay. Well, $1 Million Baby, fantastic movie. Okay. Yeah. But I'm Italian. All right.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Rocky Balboa is Italian. All right.
It's true.
It's the classic boxing movie that everybody goes to. When you think of boxing movies, you think of Rocky.
It's true.
Probably 2, 3, or 4, but still, you still think of Rocky. Okay. And it is a classic boxing movie, and you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah.
But
it's
so weird and strange, and it kind of feels all over the place. There's only 2 fucking fights in it to begin with.
You're welcome for that point.
And and I don't know, man. It didn't make me feel the way that $1 Million Baby made me feel, which is weird and gross. And that's how boxing makes me feel in general. So no, but honestly, I think that $1 Million Baby is a fantastic boxing movie. Which we get the underdog, we get the shitty asshole trainer, we get the backstories, we get the colorful side characters, and then the writers and also Clint Eastwood decided to kick us in our fucking teeth with breaking Maggie Fitzgerald's neck on a stool, which I still don't understand why it was on its fucking side.
Dave wants clarity.
She would have missed. Haggis. She would have missed if it was standing upright. That's just what I'm saying. And then, he takes her out to pasture and puts her down.
Oh, old Yellers her.
Old Yellers put the fuck out of her. So I don't know. It was a good movie and it made me feel things. So for me, first prize film boxing movie award goes to $1 Million Baby.
No, it's a good choice because let's be honest here. $1 Million Baby is the better movie. It is a great film.
I don't like how you worded that.
I know. It is though. You know where I'm going with this. $1 Million Baby is hands down the better film here. There's a lot of weird stuff in Rocky. It's full of outsiders and weirdos, and I love that because I actually did feel like I had a little space being held for me in this movie. And yeah, there might have only been 2 fights, but I don't know. It's just so pure and weird and focuses on boxing and Rocky overcoming his obstacles that you just can't help but be endeared to it. It feels like all they do is talk about boxing. Even when Rocky's trying to date or connect with other people, hey, see me in this fight? I was over here. I, again, think $1 Million Baby is a better film, but I think the better boxing movie, with all our points and everything, it's got to be Rocky for me.
I hate you so much.
I know you do, and I'm not trying to be difficult.
I don't
except for the
understand.
fact that I am trying to be difficult, and it's working.
I don't understand. It's a boxing movie that only has 2 fights in it.
But it is about boxing. It is about the industry of boxing. The highs of Apollo Creed, who's on top of the world. He's got a suit and he's choosing his boxers. And then there's the lows of Rocky, who lives in a closet and all this like weird stuff. And like the dichotomy of those two characters and like how the world works and where you fit into it. And sometimes you get your break. And when you do get your break, you have to live up to that moment at all costs.
I mean, $1 Million Baby has all of that shit too. Like literally everything you just said, it has. And
I don't
it
disagree.
has more boxing. So I think you're making a mistake here, man.
$1 Million Baby is really big. I just don't think it's the better boxing movie.
I mean, like 95% of the scenes are in a boxing gym or ring or locker room.
But why would you settle for that when you can listen to a man walk around town and just talk about boxing?
That sounded very backwards, and I'm mad at you.
This is the captain. Red alert. Red alert.
Welcome to the Tiebreaker.
I'm going to defer back to you for the tiebreaker call. You know a guy.
I know a guy real well. He's my brother.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Get Mark on the line.
Hello?
Hey, so quick question. It's the boxing movies episode. We did $1 Million Baby versus the original Rocky, and we've come to an impasse, and we need a tiebreaker. So it's going to be you.
That was actually a tough answer for me because even though $1 Million Baby has the sweet sounds of Morgan Freeman's voice,
True.
The better boxing movie, I'm going to have to go with Rocky because boxing was more hard fought and more intense, and while they were both underdog stories, and $1 Million Baby is a great movie. I think it's a better movie. The boxing is better in Rocky.
Agreed. Sing it to my soul, Mark.
I don't know. He had 2 fights, and Maggie in $1 Million Baby had like 19, and she was 19-0 until she fought the stool.
Quality, not quantity, Dave.
I'm not saying their win-loss record was better. We're talking about like the scenes we saw of the boxing was better in Rocky because it was more intense. Like I said, the $1 Million Baby was definitely a better movie, and I'm a Rocky fan. I've seen all of them, even the Creed movies, like a gazillion times.
Well, I guess you helped us decide the winner.
Woo! Thanks, Mark. You're my hero.
We can never agree on anything, can we?
Well, you agreed with Blake, so at least you agree with somebody.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you. I will talk to you later.
Glad it could help.
All right, bye.
Well, I'm sorry, Dave. It's a dark day in Ohio, and
it's every day in Ohio.
I mean, it's exactly what I said. $1 Million Baby is a better movie, but I think Rocky is just the better boxing movie.
Yeah, I don't agree. I'm not going to agree. I can't. This is weird because I'm going against my own people.
It's true. You're entitled to your opinion, and that's fine. But it has been settled in the court of First Prize Films, which again means nothing and nobody cares.
Nope.
But I will sleep a little better tonight.
Guess I'll see you next week.
Well, here's my question for you, Dave.
No.
Are you gonna? Do you feel inspired to like pick up some gloves, maybe get in the ring, shuffle around, spar a little bit, anything like that?
No, I value my nose that I still think is too big, too much.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Me, I sweat behind the computer, so it's a hard no. And I'm going to save all my energy for next week when I will sweat just as much, maybe more. I don't know. Time will tell.
I'm very excited about it, honestly.
Yeah, me too. I smell weird. So
yeah, that's normal, though. Hey, First Prize listeners, thanks for tuning in this week. Thanks for getting knocked out with us.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed hearing us fail to understand the sport of boxing, consider subscribing to our socials. It's at First Prize Pod on all platforms, and that includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on TikTok and YouTube as well. Also, don't forget to check out our website. It's firstprizefilms.com.
Yeah, we do this for free because we're rich from training turtles to fight. But if you'd like to support us, consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts or come hang out on Twitch. We stream every week talking about movies, having some laughs, and chatting with all of you.
It's a really good time. Join us next week as we run for our lives with these monster movies.
Yeah, we're talking about The Host, 2006 versus Tremors, 1990.
Yeah, I don't know enough about either to make any kind of comment, so...
Oh, dude, Kevin Bacon, that's all you need to know.
Yikes. In that case, see ya!
Bye ya. $157.03. Rocky, I love you, or something. Rocky,
or something.